Miami's next quarterback could be Carson Beck. Stop me if you have heard the stars aligning in this manner before. A veteran quarterback who has started a lot of games, thrown for a lot of yards, has a bit of a turnover problem, declared for the NFL draft, but is now in the transfer portal. Deja vu, Hurricanes. This could be your guy. Now, this has not happened yet, but this is a shocking reversal. Cam Ward wasn't as surprising that he pulled his name out of the NFL draft, but boy, sure was a good decision. And by the way, I think Carson Beck is making the right decision for his professional future here. This class or next class, he'll be a top 5 NFL draft quarterback prospect in whatever class he comes out in, just because he's got a lot of physical traits. He's now going to be very old. I mean, 2025 will be his 6th year of eligibility. 6th. That's a lot. He hasn't played and started every single year. I mean, in the COVID season, he appeared in 1 game and didn't attempt a pass. But this is a guy who has back-to-back 3,000-plus yard seasons, who regressed this year in both yardage and interceptions. He doubled his interceptions from a year ago. Cam Ward had a fumble problem, by the way. Then Ward went down to Miami, and it was all better. And you know what? I think Miami can give Carson Beck a better supporting cast than what he had at Georgia this year. Worst kept secret that was on display in the semifinal or the quarterfinal against Notre Dame. Georgia's offensive line was not as good as it should have been, and something that we all saw this year, Georgia's receiving core was terrible. They had among the most drops in all of college football. It was not there. So Cam Ward was at Washington State, where he had really good receivers, a poor offensive line, and no running game. Then he went to Miami. He got an offensive line. He got more of a running game. He again had good receivers, and he was a Heisman finalist and the second leading passer in all of college football to only Kyle McCord, who, of course, kept him out of the college football playoff in the last week of the regular season. So Carson Beck could go to Miami and succeed. I'm confident in that. Shannon Dawson is an offensive coordinator. That was a right hire for Mario Cristobal. They had Josh Gaddis before, but then all of a sudden, don't know that this is the right move. So what did Mario do? What any smart coach would do. Recognize this is not what we were hoping for and make a change quickly. Like Whiplash said in Iron Man 2, amen. Don't get too attached to things. Learn to let go. That was the best Whiplash I had. I didn't think it was terrible. Let me know in the comments below. But, and of course he was throwing that line back in Hammer's face. But the whole concept of bringing in a veteran guy like this, working once for Miami, just fits the bill that this would work again. But this is not the only place Carson Beck could wind up. So this was not a reversal anybody really saw coming, and the initial reports were Miami's the favorite. Miami's favorite, and I went, whoa, that makes a lot of sense, and all those Cam Ward data points just clicked in my head. But then it came out, hold on, Miami's a favorite, but they're not the only team. Ohio State is in the mix. Whoa. And Texas Tech is in the mix. Whoa. First of all, I don't know that Texas Tech wants Carson Beck. Are you just throwing in the towel on Baron Morton? I know he got banged up a bit this year, but I mean, I don't know. I would not like for either party to have that be where Carson Beck winds up. Ohio State, on the other hand, is highly intriguing. So the Buckeyes had all these quarterbacks this year and from past recruiting cycles, and some of them are leaving, not all of them. And you'd like to think that this guy or the other guy, I mean, at one point they had 5 blue chip scholarship quarterbacks in the room at the same time. And all of a sudden, a couple of those guys are leaving. Will Howard's gone after this year. So the veteran thing worked for Ohio State this season very, very well. Jeremiah Smith will still be there. Ohio State will still have a great roster. Certainly it won't be as talented as this one that may go on to win the national championship. But they're still going to have one of the 5 best rosters probably in all of college football. They are not falling out of the top 10. And in their own conference, I don't think they're falling out of the top 3. And I don't know that they're out of the top 2. So that's an appeal that Miami cannot make. Ohio State can say, look at this player and understand how good he is. Look at the boost in completion percentage for Will Howard this year. Will Howard has been a solid quarterback over the course of his college career, and he had logged 4 seasons at Kansas State before transferring to Ohio State. Here were his numbers by season at Kansas State. 9 games played, 54%, 8 touchdowns, 10 picks. Then in 2021, 6 games played, 54%, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. 2022, 60%, 15 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. 2023, 61%, 24 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. 2024, 3,490 yards, 32 touchdowns, and 9 picks. He'd never thrown for 25 touchdowns in a year. He went for 32. He hadn't hit 2,700 yards passing. He will hit 35 once, they finish the playoff game. I mean, by the end of the season, Will Howard could have a 4,000-yard campaign. Yes, that's postseason's part of it, but that's part of the appeal, isn't it? So Ohio State and Miami make a lot of sense here. Mario Cristobal is going into year 4. And it was a disappointing end to what was overall a successful season for the Hurricanes, in which they took a major step forward as a program and showed, hey, we can push to be the top of the ACC and in the college football playoff discussion. But now they have to reload at quarterback. And do they feel like the young guys on their roster are ready? Maybe not. They can't be as ready to play as Carson Beck because Carson Beck's already played a bunch of football. He's already won a bunch of football games. And then for Ohio State, the appeal, again, very real. Premier program, could be coming off a national championship season, best young wide receiver in all of college football, who Dan Lanning accurately described as being NFL ready right now. You could have him for your final year. Allow that to rekindle some of the NFL draft stock that you lost. I like this move for Carson Beck personally. I think either of those stops could lead to success, but for a guy that has NFL prospects, legitimate NFL prospects, to understand, I took a step back this year and I feel like I can get back to what I was a couple of years ago. I mean, he might have been the number 1 overall pick in the draft if he had come out following the 2023 season, but he came back to Georgia and it didn't go as well as it was planned. But he can go find a better situation around him, and he can go win a lot of football games. Now, if I were Carson Beck, would I go to Miami or Ohio State? I'd go to Ohio State. Miami's undergoing some more turnover. They've got talent on the roster, to be sure. But nobody is as talented a wide receiver as Jeremiah Smith. Nobody will make you look better than Jeremiah Smith. Will Howard, I think, went from an afterthought as an NFL quarterback to, kind of feels like he should be a 3rd or 4th round flyer at the very least. I don't see how Will Howard isn't good enough to be a backup quarterback in the NFL. Look at the throws he's making week in and week out against playoff defenses, and we'll see how he does against Texas. So I'd go to Ohio State just for Jeremiah Smith, but the appeal of going to Miami, you're playing an easier schedule. You might be able to look a little bit better than you would going through the gauntlet of the Big Ten. But where Carson Beck ends up, that is now the biggest domino to fall in the offseason next. Appreciate everyone listening. I will see you next time. And until then, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.